So after WCW closed down, you had mentioned you kind of stepped away from wrestling a bit. Did you ever have anybody reach out or any feelers from TNA, ROH, anything like that?
Bob Ryder tried to get my head screwed back on straight for a while with TNA, him and Borash both. But no, I kind of just did my own thing, and I worked for Bill Behrens sort of selectively and did my own thing, did some, booked some indie shows and stuff like that. But I kind of got so, and it was so dumb. This is why I say you shouldn't let a 21-year-old make any decisions for himself. We had just got a footing under us, and AJ said, "Dude, if we just keep going, we're gonna be fine. We just ride this thing out. It's gonna be fine." And I just couldn't. I felt like I guess because I had started at 14, I felt like I'd worked this whole long lifetime to get to where I was, and which is dumb. I mean, Steve Austin didn't make it until he'd been in the business for 10 years, right? To be the big huge star. So I just made a really, really poor decision, and I should have let discretion be the better part of valor, and I did not.
Admittedly, I would have loved to have seen you guys face like the Briscoes and I think the Maximos, the SATs were out there back then. Like, I think those would have been really good matches. I know you still wrestle here and there in Georgia. Like, I see your name pop up. What dictates that? What makes you decide if you're going to wrestle or not?
My daughter.
That's awesome.
Man, yeah, I'm so thankful. If you'd have told, again, 21-year-old me that I'd be married to the sweetest girl I know, and then have two just perfect kids and live out here in this stuff, I'd call you a liar. But especially if you'd have told me I'd have two girls and be happy about it. I've got Perry, who's she's about to be 9, and then I've got Piper, who's 2. She's my rowdy one, so Piper fits her pretty well. But if Perry decides she wants to see Dad wrestle, I will do what I can to get in shape and do it again. But I'm sure this won't get all the mainstream attention that the Undertaker's got, but I have absolutely no desire to get into a ring and bump around and hit my head or there's, I started getting in shape a couple years ago, and I'd gotten to a point where I'd really gotten terribly, terribly out of shape. And when DDP saw me, he kind of patted me on my gut and said, "Where did that come from?" Oh. And I said, "Oh, sir, I like to drink beer." And he said, "You better start earning them." And I said, "Yes, sir." And so I dropped about 50 pounds, and people are like, "Oh, you're doing a big comeback." And I'm like, absolutely not. I just want to be able to play in the yard with my kid and not get blown up.
DDP's great. His yoga program, like, I've got 2 racked shoulders, a racked neck. The only reason I can train MMA or wrestle here and there is because I did DDP yoga. Like, him pushing and encouraging people, it works, even if it's something subtle like that.
Yeah. And you know what? I haven't seen him again since, but I think he'll be a little bit more pleased with me than he was last time he saw me.
So I actually saw that you were, or I think maybe I heard somebody had mentioned that you were backstage or at an Impact Wrestling show recently. So you're still taking in shows and stuff like that too.
Yeah, the Impact show, I think the last one. Well, yeah, we were there. I'll be honest, I completely forgot about it. Old wrestler brain is a serious thing sometimes, man. Everything that, I'm trying to think of who it was that said your brain's like a sponge. You have to wring it out sometimes so you can get new stuff in there. So I wring wrestling stuff out so I can remember lyrics to JoJo Siwa songs and lullabies now. But yeah, no, actually that happened. That was really cool. So I definitely need to give him a shout out on this too. Lance Storm mentioned me on Twitter.
Oh, nice.
He's like, "Yeah, I know what this AJ Styles kid did, but what happened to Air Paris? Does he still wrestle, or did he change names or whatever?" And then somebody tagged me in that, and it became a sort of a funny bit of a running joke. This guy on there was like, "No, he died in a snowmobile accident in 2004." And so I was like, "Did I?" And then everybody's like, "Dude, this is the guy telling you he didn't die." So I'm not arguing at all. These other people are arguing for me that I didn't die in 2004. I can vouch right now that I didn't. I don't believe. But yeah, so Lance did that. Ross Foreman at Impact, who's he's one of their marketing guys. He reached out.
He's who told me that you were there, actually.
Yeah, dude. And Ross was always just such a nice guy, a pro, and just a good person. So he reached out. They were going to be in Atlanta later, like a week or so later. They had the 2 shows there at the Roxy, and was like, "Hey, if you want to bring your daughter, I'd love to have you and the family come." So we went down, and honestly, even though I was out of the loop on Impact and some of the talent that they had, it was an amazing show. Just had a really, really good time, start to finish. And they treated us just as good as they probably could. So big thank yous to everybody at Impact for that.
Yeah, I was
David Pinzer walks up and he goes, he kind of looks at me. Ross is like, you know who this is? And Pinzer's like, oh my God. And he's like, I'm afraid to say because I'm not sure it's right. And so like 2 seconds later, he asked me to do his podcast and then says, can you still go? And I said, maybe. I'm not sure I ever could. I said, I'm not sure I'd be much worse than I used to be.